indeed there. Their general coming straight in for that charge. So morale's not doing too badly though. It's dipping now. That is excellent. Davout will be down indeed by the end of the day. Hello everyone, welcome back to Napoleon Total War as the Kingdom of Prussia using the Darth mod. We are on turn 16 of this Let's Play now, and things are going to shit, to put things mildly. We are in the middle of enemy territory in Austria over here with the Louis Ferdinand, Prince of Prussia, and we were looking at the end of our last episode about going straight towards Vienna. We do have a couple minor obstacles in the way over here, but if we wanted to, we could go around this bridge over here, circumvent them and go straight into Vienna. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that there may well be a standing army in here, and even if that weren't the case, if it were just the natural garrison of armed citizenry, even with a mild stack in there to back them up, I don't think we'll be able to take it. We are very heavily damaged over here. We've made an advance into Moravia to distract the enemy, and I think now is wise, while we have movement left, we're going to come back to our Silesian territory and lay an ambush just on the border there. We're going to play it safe, play it very, very safe. Let our replenishments go up there. You can see it's probably going to take 2 to 3 turns to get our worst units back up there, and that's absolutely fine. If we can lay an ambush here and prevent the enemy coming into Silesia, this army is doing its job just fine. However, things are not looking great over in this direction. We do have Gebhard von Blücher over here protecting our Bohemian territory over here. But that's not what's looking so bad. We're just going to move our spy while I think about it over towards Bavaria to watch our flank over here. Make sure Blücher over here isn't threatened too hard. But what we are threatened by is this particular army over here, led by none other than Davout himself. And this is rather a nasty army indeed. We can see they have a lot of cavalry here. I'm going to guess that all of these units from this unit of chasseurs cheval over to this one is cavalry, so that's a lot to think about. We can guess they have 4 units of cannon, and we can see a couple units of militia, so that's not so bad in that regard. However, we only have militia in Saxony over here. We do have 1 unit of Silesian Schützen. That's not going to do the job, is it? The problem here is we do have a fairly decent army over here with some chevrons about. However, a couple units over here not at full strength. Not too far from full strength, actually. 3 units missing in these Black Brunswickers and Jaegers over here, and 5 men missing in these Dragoons. So I think really we're going to go straight into this battle and try and get rid of this as soon as possible. We should just about, if we try and come into the range over here, yeah, we're going to get intercepted, but I was hoping really to get our militia at least as reinforcements, but I don't want to initiate a battle, of course, with those, so it's not a problem. We can certainly try and take this on as we are. What's actually a bit of a boon over here is their absolutely massive reliance on cannons. That's more than I expected, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of cannon there, which is overkill, if you ask me. They are horse artillery, they are 6-pounders. The 1 unit of 8-pounder there, so they will have some decent range on them. We need to watch out for them. Need to reserve our cavalry so that we can find an opening to remove those. But it looks like we do, of course, outnumber them in terms of line infantry. Therefore, we can use our actually fairly goddamn decent accuracy, so long as it's not the Swiss line we're comparing ourselves to. I think we're going to be fine, really, but it is going to be a slog. It's going to be a long, hard battle. So let's get straight into that. Alrighty, so just a quick update as we load in the battle before we've even deployed ourselves. We can see that this is a bit of a river battle over here, but we are nowhere near the river ourselves. We look over here. If we look at the mini-map, we'll just enlarge it for you. The enemy is on our side of the river largely. They do have some cavalry over here on this side of the river, next to the bridge. Every time there is a river battle, there's generally a bridge on one side, and we can just about see somewhere to ford the river over here. So that comes with advantages and disadvantages for each. We have some Swiss line over here. The reason we can see this is somehow our general over here has more command than Marshall Davout, so we deploy second. So the enemy is set up ready for the battle. Not ideally, of course. They will have their cannons just over here, of course unlimited at the moment. Is there any terrain we can use to our advantage? We can probably hide a bit of a ridge in between these trees over here, but that works both ways again. Perhaps we can go somewhat defensive and hide behind this wall for a little bit. Guess our own men on this hill march through the trees would be great to hinder the enemy cavalry a tad. We'll have a think and get back to you when we are fully deployed. Okay, so being very, very cautious as we start this battle. We've not done anything too fancy once again. Made some fairly strong flanks with a decent centre. We've got a couple units of Jaegers and line infantry on either side protected by some cavalry. Going to take this hill over here in this particular position as highlighted. See how the enemy goes. Try and be reactive on this side, and on this side we're going to try and hide in these trees for as long as possible with our Jaegers and line infantry here, and get our cavalry over out in the open to try and perhaps poke around, protect this bridge over here, watch for the enemy cavalry, have some hussars and chasseurs cheval over there. We can see that it's militia on this side, so we should be able to smash through here somewhat easily with what we have. We have a fairly decent centre of Swiss grenadiers. We're putting all of our grenadiers and some Black Brunswickers in the centre, so they are decent holding infantry, backed up by some musketeers and Black Brunswickers in this massive gap over here which we're leaving. Bit of a false centre over here, I would say. We're going to leave our general quite a neutral central location over there so that he can dart backwards and forwards as the battle demands. Watching how the enemy is positioning themselves, and it looks like they're still confused as to what they're doing. Some cannons of our own would be absolutely amazing right now on this particular hill, going right down into the centre of them, but not to worry, didn't quite have the time or money to put some cannons in this army, unfortunately. And that's the price we're paying now. So while the enemy is confused, we are going to push up even harder. We're going to try, I think, and come a little on this reverse slope over here so that we're not directly in the face of the enemy cannons there. Keep the general back a tad under the brow of the hill there as well. Grouped up over here so that we can make our manoeuvres a little easier, and we're going to have to push out of this woodland, unfortunately. Just going to have to push in even harder and create an encirclement as early as possible here. So the enemy, we're going to back them into a corner, make sure they have nowhere to run. We are going to want to destroy this army as hard as possible, completely obliterate them. Going to have to watch out for their cavalry coming in now though. So let's halt here, get some formations on, just to tidy this up a tad so that we're not shooting ourselves in the backs there. It looks like we're getting some decent fire out already. Massive volley. And we'll see what they're doing there, because they're a bit neutral on the charge. Lost nearly 20 men already. That's absolutely brilliant. They're chasseurs cheval, of course, so they are firing while mounted at us there. What we might want to do is countercharge them and shoot them in the backs there. They won't be able to stand up to our own hussars. I don't know why we're not charging them directly there. Perhaps facing the wrong way ourselves, but there we go, we've met them in melee there, excellent, and we'll be able to shoot them in the backs there with our Jaegers and such, but they are pushing forwards with some slightly chevron fusiliers of their own there. Which means we can't keep this hill, unfortunately, so we're going to have to push in, because the enemy is going hard on our flank. We need to push in before that crumbles in itself there. Just making sure we have everything selected there so that we can push. And what they're doing with their cannons, they're finally unlimbering. So we're going to take this reverse slope and go right in the middle of the enemy force there. Come a little more neutral over here and bring these Black Brunswickers over to the side to reinforce that, while pushing up over here to secure our own Jaegers and such. What's they doing with these cavalry units? Looks like they're still chasseurs cheval, so I'm not too sure what they want to do there, but they're coming in for the cavalry engagement by the looks of things. We're going to have to meet them there. Not entirely sure what this militia's doing. Getting right in our faces there. Interesting. Looks like we're getting some friendly fire here, unfortunately. I think we're going to curl around here with our line of infantry. Get here, stop there, get our general round to help armour out on this side. Might want to disengage quickly with this cavalry because we're not made for sustained engagements there. And just double checking how we're moving over here against the enemy cavalry. Moving over here. Let's halt, I think, with this unit. Go round to support these two. Yeah, getting some shots off, but it is through woodland. General's taking some stray shots, but not to worry there. This woodland's going to get very much on my nerves. I'm going to come around here in this woodland, watch the enemy cavalry there. Are we able to get through here without causing friendly fire ourselves? We should be crouching there. We've broken the militia, not exactly the hardest thing to do. Regiment to Catalonia over here, going to be fairly tough, fairly tough, but we do have some Black Brunswickers, of course. Going to pull back with these Jaegers now. And we're going to push up, I think, a tad with our line infantry. How are we doing against the cavalry there? Might want to counter-charge back in there and make sure we're just shooting these off. Yeah, getting some shots into their backs there, which is excellent. So actually, I think we'll remain neutral with our own cavalry here. Unless they're deciding to shoot us in the backs there. Don't want that. Yeah, absolutely trying to do that. Let's just commit to that engagement, I think. And there we go. Nice fire by rank coming out by those lovely looking Black Brunswickers. Excellent stuff. Their general's in a dangerous position there. You have to watch out for him. We're in range here. We're running with some Swiss Grenadiers. Why is that? Have we taken a cavalry charge? Looks like we may have done. They're very heavy cavalry charge there. Did not keep an eye out for that. Lost a fair few men over there as well, rather nastily. Can't see the flags over here, seeing they are tired. Their morale not looking great though. We'll be back. We'll be back. That's all good there. Try and get this group out here. How are we doing? Do we need to square? I think we certainly do. That's what cost us that last units there. Double check over here. I think we're just about fine. Let's charge into the backs over here because we're idling. Not great at all there. And if we charge them with both of those, that means we can pull back. I think with this unit over here, it's taken a few losses. And charge on up a tad with this unit. Take the hill a bit harder. That's a fair few units on our cavalry already, which is not what we're looking for. These chasseurs cheval coming back with only a few men. Enemy generals coming in here. If we get a chance to shoot Davout, he's even coming for a charge here. Who is that we just square with then? It's this unit. Don't want to do that. Thought we selected the other unit. Not to worry. We are coming in. Marshall Davout, very, very brave indeed. Giving Ney a run for his money. So he'll be down very soon then. That's very, very useful indeed there. Their general coming straight in for that charge. The morale's not doing too badly though. It's dipping now. That is excellent. Davout will be down indeed by the end of the day. So we need to come out with our cavalry now. We've lost a lot of men in that cavalry. Those two cavalry units there. How are we doing over here? We need to come out of the square here by the looks of things. Going to be in range to fire with our Jaegers and such now. Just keeping the square going because you shouldn't need to. Let's get our men firing properly there. Use our Jaegers to shoot these chasseurs cheval at the back there, of course. What are we doing over here, though? Are the enemy... They're not set up with their cannons just yet. So, if we're careful, it's more a case of mopping up and getting things into a good position here. So let's charge on forwards with these Swiss line over here. Come out of the square, because it's no longer needed. Looks like we've routed off their general, shattered him, so they won't be getting any bonuses from there. We wipe out this militia over here. It is very thin on the ground. Lost a lot of units, over a quarter of his men there. And we'll just double check what's going on in the centre. Do we need to cycle anything around? We've got rid of these chasseurs cheval a little. They're not completely shattered though, so they will be back. And I think we rely on our line infantry now. Ooh, dearie dear, what is going on here? What is going on here? Let's not square. We're going to melee here. They've got on our backs somehow. That's the tree cover here. We're going to get in their backs with this skirmish units and push on forwards with our line like we was just planning into the centre here. Block them off. Okay, so the general is coming back. Only 19 men left now on his general staff, and we do have a somewhat nasty centre to get rid of. Some mixed units. These conscripts are rather decent. 4 conscripts. They do have their own Swiss line. Rather hard units to break there. Still some militia about. You have to watch out for this cavalry, I think. Let's square up That's militia and chasseur cheval. It's very difficult to see in these trees. Very, very difficult indeed. But we do have some people backing us up here, which I'm guessing has shots out there. And we're going to have to push on in here. Have to push on in here. What is our other units of cavalry doing over here? They are idle and actually quite a way back from the battle. Bit of a mistake though, do need them out as far as we can so we can get on top of these cannons without charging our infantry in there. And we're going to have to come out of the square here. Take the hill here. Look how close we are with the enemy there in the woodlands. They do have the cover there. It does work both ways, of course. Not liking that though. Where is our general? I think our general needs to come back over here. Support our morale like so. And we're going to catch out Davout over here with our own cavalry. We can certainly overpower him before he gets onto the bridge there. Trying to make an escape. Can't let that happen. Major French Marshal over here. Absolutely. And he needs to go down. I see the numbers already going down on the charge there. He is rousing. But there's nowhere for him to escape now. He is absolutely shattered, so won't be seeing him again there. And he is, in fact, down. Louis-Nicolas Davout is dead. Excellent. And that means this unit of cavalry can truly stay neutral, protect the bridge over there, watch out for any enemy flankers. We are going to curl around over here, help out our infantry there, and move up to meet the enemy here. Double time, thank you. Even though you are winded, I'm sure and tired over here, these Black Brunswickers. We're going to push up with our own reserves here. We are getting shots on, but I need to move them up to support our own morale there. How we're doing over here with this cavalry, we're all done there. Excellent stuff. We're moving up into the centre here. Where is the reserve cavalry though? Because I want to charge those cannons while we can, and while this chasseur cheval is occupied there. Oh, there's a mounted horse artillery. That's excellent stuff. No cavalry left over there then to worry about, and we're certainly dealing with these French conscripts and militia absolutely fine there. This unit, I think, can be replaced by the centre over here as the reserve is needed, as it's 4 there, and we're going to pull back down over here, let our cavalry into the cannons. I think it's going to be very dangerous. We're going to have to follow up with a very swift line encounter here. Just spread them out so they're not all piled onto one unit there. Let the cavalry through, and they're certainly going, just pushing through our own retreating units there. We're certainly doing good. What we're going to do then is just catch the enemy while they're rousing, I think, so that they don't come back. We do need to watch out for these rousing hussars and such, so that will be a bit of a bother. Enemy is squaring, rather interestingly. We're going to have to push in, aren't we? We're going to have to push in harder. Enemy artillery is rousing, which is excellent, which means we can pull out our cavalry as soon as possible there. Need to make sure, yeah, they have abandoned their cannons there. What is this? This is militia, so what we can do is run straight into them because they cannot form a square. Being militia, they are untrained. And hopefully the Swiss will fire onto the enemy Swiss over there, which is excellent. Push in a little harder with our line infantry here, and do the same on this side to support our cavalry, of course. Double time, unfortunately, guys. I am going to push you, wreaking havoc in their back line here with our own cavalry, but do need to watch out because they have formed a square with their Swiss line. That is taking shots away from our own Swiss line over here, and that's rather excellent indeed. Just make sure that we do come out of that because we are in rather a spot there. Don't want any of our own units to be completely wiped out, of course. We're just told to charge to a square there. What we need to do is come straight out over here. Yeah, no worries about that. We have had to retreat through a square, unfortunately, there. Just take off fire at will while our cavalry is running through, unfortunately, because we are going to start killing our own men. And we'll just use a highlight tool there to see through the trees here. And we are going to start taking enemy charges to the face because we've not let them escape into just this narrow channel here for them to run single file through and escape there. But that is into our skirmishers. If we're about face there, we should be absolutely fine to do so there. Sits on this little ridge line. shoot them in the backs, make sure they do shatter completely and get as many kills as possible. Let's get completely out of the enemy's line of fire there and turn back on fire at will, so that they do fire at the enemy's square. That does look like we're just out of range, unfortunately, to do so. I don't know how they have this kind of range on us, because they're actually sitting downhill there. An uphill shot. It looks like, are we going to be in range here? We are in range, just turning about. Do need you to do so, guys. And this, very luckily, is why we made a more elite army, so that we can take the French on face to face here and head on. But that is going to be the end of the battle then. A hard fought battle. Many losses on both sides, it has to be said. We might have to chase them down afterwards as well on the strategic map. Looks like they're coming for one last melee charge here on the retreat there. That's rather unlucky, because that's going to be even more losses for us. And there we go, they have made contact. Not liking that. We are battering down the Swiss line that never retreats. Absolutely never retreats. Far too high morale despite being surrounded and very tired. Let's encircle them a bit harder there, I think. Make sure they get out. And they are now routing over here. And there we go. Very close victory indeed. We've taken a lot of losses ourselves. Nearly 1,500 there. The enemy took 3,500 themselves, but they do have 803 men remaining. I did continue that battle on after the victory screen there, just to chase down what we could, but it's still not quite enough, unfortunately. So what's they remaining with their few units, of course. Going to have to pursue those, though. It might have to pursue them with our militia army over here. What's we looking like happiness-wise? Interest? Not great, unfortunately. I don't want to have to chase them down with this unit. We'll put this unit into Potsdam where the supply post is and help out our replenishment there. It's only going to take a few turns themselves. We didn't actually lose any units outright there, which is very nice for us indeed. Actually, can we ask the French for a very cheeky peace after that crushing blow? Ooh, they've got a lot of technology I can ask for. Got a lot of technology. Should we ask for... We're researching Army Corps Organisation, so we can probably ask for conscription. I'm sure they will say no. So if we offer 1,000 there... They've said no, that's absolutely fine. Can we go for a basic piece there with a little sweetener of 1,000? They've said no, so I'm not going to push them any harder for that. And I think we're going to be very risky and just see if we can also resolve through this. If not, then we'll go back and police ourselves. Yeah, we can also resolve through this. I can take some losses to some militia. That's not a problem there. And over the next turn, we'll go back and police Dresden once again. So that's very nice. It's a full French stack out of the way there. Can we sabotage an army over here? Can we sabotage the larger garrison? Might be a bit easier. 40%, 43, even though there's a general in here. So we'll try that. And they have been successful. Excellent. Who is this? Henri Delaborde over here with some Swiss line and some French-Irish Legion, rather interestingly enough. We should probably get a spy further into Vienna there. We are at war with Hesse-Kassel, so we're going to bring this spy over. And we're going to try and sabotage this army over here, despite the very low success chance. I'm going to risk it once again. That's not worked, but luckily we didn't lose the agents there. Do we want to spend any money this turn? That's the question. That is indeed the question there. What's that income looking like? We're actually losing money there. I'm not liking that at all. Really not liking that at all. I might have to remove some units at some point. Let's bring this agent over here. Bring them into Lithuania, Vilnius. Get some extra sight. We can see some minor Russian armies there. Wondering what would be the easiest way to get our income up somewhat quickly. It's taking 5 turns for magistrate buildings, 7 turns for opera houses. What about roads? Tell you what, since we're possibly abandoning Olmütz, we're going to remove the construction over here. We don't want to improve that for our enemies though. We're just going to leave that as it is. We're quite likely going to lose that over the end term. That's just something for them to think about there. Let's get... the roads are going to take 6 turns there. Nothing's going to be light, is it? I think we upgrade the roads though, where we can. It's going to take 3 turns for these. Get some over here. I'm going to... It's the thing. It's this supply post over here. It's been very useful for our armies, but if it were a market, because we did convert it, didn't we? If it were a market, it'd be very nice indeed. What exactly is the happiness here? -3. Just get rid of a couple units of militia here. And in fact, get rid of these Silesian Schutzen over here. We're not getting anything really, 55, but at least we're not losing money. How about our tax? Bring that weirdly down. Yeah, but if we move it up, that's going to be rather nasty to us. We're actually losing more money there. Interesting. We are being blockaded over here though, so we're going to have to think about certain navy at some point, and once again think about pushing into Russia for a peace treaty at some point as well. Maybe we can go for a standard peace and a trade agreement over here. Said no. What about Austria again? Oh, okay, so that's 1 turn perhaps. We're free, but we know what the Austrians are like in their peace treaties there. So there's a little more money in the bank there, a little bit safer over here. I'm sure the Austrians will come back to war with us very, very soon though. Let's finally end the turn. Okay, so we have a letter of demands from Saxony. It's absolutely fine. Workers on strikes because we don't have our policing force here. That's all good. What do we have over here? The Kingdom of Italy has joined the war against us, which is excellent for us. What is not great is we weren't able to sabotage a major Hesse-Kassel army over here, and that's rather nasty because we are in a tight spot for replenishment here, and Blucher nowhere to be seen. Not liking that at all. We have another large French stack over here. We have a couple, unfortunately. What do we do? What do we do? You'd have to try and sabotage this large one over here. It's only 20%. Not liking that at all. If we sabotage this one over here, it's 23%. Gonna have to go for this one with the general. Quite likely going to lose our agent here. Didn't lose it, but we weren't successful there, unfortunately. Try and sabotage this army again. Not working. Gonna have to garrison Berlin so that we don't lose that over the end turn, but they may well siege that down, which is the bother there. They are threatening Dresden as well. I don't want to take that on while we are somewhat crippled there, unfortunately. That may have to be for another day. Let's come over with Blucher while we can. Get him up here, because we're going to need him. Maybe I should have done that last turn, eh? Not to worry. Do we bring this... Do we assume Austria's going to declare war on us very soon again, or we do come back up to try and threaten Russia again? I think we try and threaten Russia again. While we can. I don't want to have to spend any money if I don't need to, but I think really we're going to have to try and get these great estates up. And that would be about it for this turn. Can we get peace with anyone else that hasn't joined a war, maybe? What about the Ottomans? Because we are at war with them, strangely enough. Foreign advanced division of labour for classical economics, maybe? No, of course not. Of course not. That would be too much. That would be far too much. No, why would we want peace? We've never done anything to them. Why would we want peace? What about France? That's the question. That's the Napoleonic Wars in one question there. What about France? Maybe we can sort out the electorate of Hesse-Kassel with diplomacy very briefly once again. Don't have any technology to offer them. What about trade? Payment of... we don't have money to offer, unfortunately. Indefinite military access once again, maybe... Yeah, they've said yes. That's one turn at least, unless they do go for... unless they do go to war once again over the end turn, we will be absolutely screwed over, to say the least. But that at least gets our armies into position here to prepare for them. Perhaps the French coming up. The French will be coming towards Prague, of course, but we do need to make sure that the Hesse-Kassel is dealt with at some point, because that's going to be a repetition over there. We're going to keep going backwards and forwards with that army there. That is a problem. We do need to take Kassel itself at some point. But that's going to be in the long run, unfortunately, because the French over here are really, really gunning for us. So I think we've done what we can do in this turn. Let's end that once again. And you just can't have a decent peace treaty, can you? Well, we're going to have to just also through as we can't win this battle at all. We're going to have to take Dresden back as soon as possible, because we can't let this slide. That's going to be a big money maker. Just disappeared there. Bloody bastards, eh? Oh well. So how bad are things? Well, we've lost Saxony. We have infiltrated Lithuania, which is very, very nice indeed, but not exactly the most important of things. Gudin 2 travel through. What's the road looking like over? It doesn't go directly towards us there. I think we want to try and go for Vilnius. It's going to take a couple turns more to get over there. Should be able to just ask for surrender there. Hesse-Kassel's joined the war. That's a raid, that's fine. We do now have Army Corps organisation reducing our upkeep for the army. Italy's been destroyed, but I mean, it's not really the greatest of our worries there. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. How are we looking over here? This army's going to have to deal with Dresden, unfortunately, while Blucher lays an ambush over here to catch up the French, hopefully before they get to Prague over here. Oh my god. We may be calling an end to this campaign here, guys, very, very soon. A few mistakes made. Oh, dearie me. Dearie, dearie me. Yeah, okay, so we've got some militia. King's German Legion, British line infantry, and some British Dutch line infantry is rather interesting. So the mistakes made in this campaign were right at the start. I decided not to go for the usual Prussian campaign opening, which is take Mecklenburg and perhaps move into Denmark over there, and lets the French declare war and you move into Hanover. We did get a little greedy. The trigger, of course, was taking Saxony while it was allied with Austria. But I don't think I can win this. I'm going to be very, very honest there. We shall try again. I think we're going to come back to this with a fresh mind, I think. But we may be having to call an end to it there, unfortunately. There's just far too much to deal with. Far, far too much to deal with for what we have over here. Our economy is not looking so bad at the moment, very interestingly. Very, very interestingly indeed. But that's the least of our worries when we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 armies bearing down on us. And of course the Austrians could come to our backs once again while we're open there, as well as perhaps a possible Ottoman army threatening our south as well. So, is this a failed campaign? Quite likely, absolutely yes. But not to worry there. I think we're going to end it there for today. Very short one. I'm going to have to come back with a fresh mind. Please leave your feedback in the comments below and see if you say whether you want to carry on, or if you want me to try it again as a different Napoleon campaign. Otherwise, I'm actually thinking going into Shogun Total War. But as far as I'm concerned, we may have to call an end to this campaign prematurely. Unfortunately, guys, I'm very, very sorry about that. Feels very unfinished, unfortunately. But I shall see you in the future. I hope you have enjoyed watching the video today, guys. Thank you very much to those who have been watching consistently. I do very much appreciate it. And I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.